To start off with Benny Gantz, he is increasingly influential in Israel. He is now the most popular politician in the country, with ratings far, far higher than those of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. If there was an election held tomorrow, Benny Gantz's National Unity Party would almost certainly come out with the biggest number of seats in the Knesset, the parliament. He is an opposition leader, but he joined this emergency war cabinet that's only made up of 5 members soon after Hamas's attack on October the 7th. And in fact, Gantz is one of only 3 voting members in that cabinet, the other 2 being Netanyahu and the Defense Minister Gallant. So he's an extremely important person. As to the question about whether him pulling out of the war cabinet would collapse the government, the answer is not necessarily. Netanyahu's coalition, which is pretty broad-based but is very right-wing, the most right-wing in Israel's history, still holds a majority in parliament and in theory could survive even if the war cabinet itself collapsed. But I think we should be under no illusions. If Gantz pulled out, he hasn't said he will, but if he did, that would certainly weaken Netanyahu's hand.
So that's the domestic pressure. Internationally, you've also had Chuck Schumer, of course, the majority Senate leader, calling for early elections too. And you've got Biden and Netanyahu expected to speak on the phone later today. How isolated is Israel at this point after the killing of those 7 aid workers? Is Netanyahu underestimating just how frayed the US-Israel relationship is at this point, Paul?
I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, that he is underestimating just how strained and angry the US is becoming, let alone Israel's other allies in the West and even in the Arab world. In terms of its isolation, the US is still backing Israel solidly and is still providing it military hardware for its war against Hamas in Gaza, and everything that the White House has said suggests there's no way that it's going to limit weapons sales to Israel or put conditions on their use. So in that sense, Israel still has the firm backing of the US, which is by far its most important ally. And Netanyahu, he knows US politics very well. Some might argue that he is underestimating just how angry people in America and beyond are with the war in Gaza right now. But he is also a pretty astute tactician, and he seems to be banking on American support staying for this war in Gaza, even if he follows through with things like sending forces into the city of Rafah.